I was never able to cook and see friends in any other kitchen I've ever had. I've never had a promontory, never had an island. And so my back has always been to my guests and my friends and my family. The problem with an island is that it can end up being a repository for so many things, from homework to papers and so on. Because we have this rather clever promontory with a chopping board high enough for someone who's quite tall like me not to strain their back when they're chopping and cooking. We have a bank of induction hobs built into that promontory, and we have a secondary electric oven there adjacent to the Aga. It's accessible from both sides, so you can cook on one side of the promontory, adjacent and next to the Aga, and then if you want to then take food, you can do it from the other side, but you could also cook from the other side, so you could jump up and down from the table. So it's fantastically cleverly accessible. That was something that I never had, and it's something I'm really excited to have. It's just incredible.
One of my personal favourites in a classic kitchen design is the mix of different materials. And here we've got that perfect combination of rich, warm oak tones against that crisp, white marble quartz. We went with our traditional in-frame shaker kitchen range with a delicate Avolo bead detail around the frame. It has a very subtle wood grain finish, which we painted in a china blue, which is a lovely heritage colour. We pulled through some other traditional design features within the scheme of the kitchen, so pilasters, moulded plinth detail around the bottom of the furniture, tongue and groove panelling, all help to bring that country aesthetic together. Other design features that we incorporated into the kitchen that reflect that country look and feel were things like the farmhouse sink, the Aga with the traditional mantle across the top, and the antique bronze finish of the handles and the butt hinges.
When it comes to thinking about the pantry, actually the trickiest part was where to put it. We thought we needed to basically knock a wall through to the next door room and put a pantry there. But then we found that actually there was a little bit of space, which is the space behind me.
The pantry was something that William really wanted from the start, and there was many different options that we went through in the design phase. And in the process of looking at the room, we found a little nook in the corner that we could create the perfect pantry.
By just creating a frame, you create this amazing space out of almost nothing.
We kept a visual connection and this openness, but also a separation that meant that the pantry was an area that looked fantastic, but was very, very practical.
So what we have in the pantry are, of course, shelves in which we can keep ingredients. I love keeping the cookery books at the top. There's mugs hanging on a brass rail, but also we've got a secondary sink in there. We've got the cooker tap, so it's quite nice to be able to keep all of the coffee and tea making equipment there. We've got a coffee machine in there as well, and the bread bin. But there's also the fridge, which fits discreetly within that slot as well, in addition to a dishwasher. And all of those things are also very handy for access to the kitchen table. So you can clear easily and you can set the table really easily. So the pantry is a very practical space, but also aesthetically, I find it really joyful. Funnily enough, when people come into this kitchen, they look at that and go, wow, what a wonderful thing, and they can't believe we actually built that, and we created this space almost out of nothing. And also, Graham at Life Kitchens decided he dropped in on the drawing the fact the wallpaper from this wall wraps around into the pantry, which is a really clever idea, and we grabbed that and ran with that as well. So all in all, for a pantry that's relatively small, it's a remarkable space. It's very clever. What you see in a kitchen space is obviously vital, but it's also what you don't see that has immeasurable importance. And the storage in this kitchen is very cleverly designed and very functional.
Whilst it's a traditional space, it's incredibly easy to use and a very practical environment. We've got lots of different storage solutions incorporated into the kitchen design, from pull-out bins under the chopping block, corner solutions which bring all of your pots and pans directly out, base pull-outs either side of the Aga to offer things close at hand when you need them, things like the cooker tap which give you instant boiling water. Moving into the dining area, we've incorporated some storage underneath that bench seat with some pull-out drawers. And on the back of the peninsula, we've also put some meaningful storage with some cutlery and crockery directly in the area where you're going to use it.
The storage solution to the brief was very clever and remarkably accessible. My favourite spot in this kitchen is standing at the butcher's block. This high, beautiful piece of wood set into the end of the promontory. I don't care where I live in the world, it's coming with me. You know, I often think it's many people's dream to design a kitchen. So to find a space in the middle of a beautiful part of the Somerset countryside where we could start from scratch and create the kitchen that I wanted, that my wife wanted, that would be useful for our family, that would be wonderful to socialise in for friends. It's been just an absolutely joyous process to go through, and I would recommend it to anybody. It's a wonderful space, and that you're always welcome.